question I've got for you is, 1999, you redesignated the surplus ID numbers for the CTS site and the Mills Gap Road site. Okay, how can you justify leaving the Rice family on that property if you deemed it a hazardous waste site, or is it a Superfund site? How can you leave a family sitting on a site that you have already declared is a hazardous waste site? Why should that family not be relocated?
Well, a couple things. I was personally involved in the screw up to have two sites, and I can tell you how it happened. I'm sitting in Atlanta. I don't remember the date. Somebody read me something today. I think it was in August of 1999, and I was on call for emergency response. The phone rang, and it was somebody from Jim's office, and they had data from drinking water, a spring and a well up here that was hot. And when we get that, the first thing we do is get the people on bottled water until we can figure out a more permanent solution, which in this case was to hook them up to city water. Well, I'm sitting there in Atlanta. I don't know. All I know is the address of where we need to take the bottled water. I don't know that CTS is next door. I didn't have the benefit of that. So I wrote on the procurement request for the bottled water, Mills Gap Road site. That's what I called it. And that got its own number and everything else. And so, you know, that's a mistake, and that's how it happened. And so, in the spirit of going forward, we're going to call it the CTS site. When it goes on the national priorities list, it's going to go on as the CTS site, not the Mills Gap Road site.
So there will not be two surplus ID
That's
numbers?
correct.
Let me make something clear too. We're working on a website that's specific for these two sites. We're hoping to get it up by the end of September. I've been told that that's possible. Because when I came onto the site, I was very confused about Mills Gap versus CTS. I mean, I knew we were investigating CTS as the source, no doubt. But how, you know, what were we going to call the site eventually? You know, so when you're looking at that website right now, just to eliminate confusion for the time being, there's there's a Mills Gap Road groundwater contamination site and the CTS of Asheville site. That is mainly so that anybody who is Googling, who would look up Mills Gap, CTS, EPA, they'll get to the site. They'll get to this website. And, you know, I understand how confusing it was. But
when it's published in the Federal Register, it's going to be published as CTS of Asheville.